Sam Elliot, the man with the voice that could silence a room. Deep, gravelly, commanding. For 6 decades, he's been Hollywood's true cowboy. Always calm, always composed. Always the man who lets his work do the talking. But what if I told you that reputation isn't the whole story? Because behind that legendary mustache and steady stare, Sam Elliot has been carrying a list. A list of 6 actors he swore he'd never forgive. And no, these aren't random names. They're legends, Oscar winners, men he once admired, trusted, even called brothers. So what went wrong? What could make one of Hollywood's most respected icons finally draw the line? It turns out some of these stories are pure chaos, egos, disrespect, betrayal. And one confrontation so bad, Sam walked off set and never looked back. This is the side of Sam Elliot. The cameras never showed the anger behind the calm, the standards he refused to compromise. And once you hear these stories, you'll understand exactly why Sam Elliot still rides alone. Now let's get into the 6 actors he'll never forgive. Actor 1, Kevin Costner. Kevin Costner. To most of America, he's a Western icon. The star of Dances with Wolves, Wyatt Earp, and more recently, Yellowstone, one of the biggest TV shows in the country. He's won Oscars. He's directed award-winning films. He's basically Hollywood's idea of the perfect cowboy. But to Sam Elliot, Kevin Costner is everything wrong with Westerns today. Here's the thing you need to understand about Sam Elliot. He didn't just play cowboys on screen. He was raised on ranches, grew up around real working men in the American West. He knows what that life actually looks, sounds, and smells like. Every role Sam takes, he brings something authentic to it, something lived in and weathered and real. You can smell the leather in his voice. You can feel the years of hard work in his eyes. When Sam Elliot plays a cowboy, you believe him. Because he's not acting, he's being himself. So when he watched Kevin Costner get cast as a cowboy in films like Wyatt Earp, and later as the rugged patriarch John Dutton in Yellowstone, Sam was completely unimpressed. To him, Costner was Hollywood's version of a cowboy. Clean boots, polished dialogue, perfect lighting, makeup artists making sure every hair was in place. It wasn't the real West. It was a soundstage version, a fantasy for people who'd never actually lived that life. Sam once told a friend, and I'm paraphrasing, he plays a rancher like it's dress-up, like he's cosplaying something he doesn't truly understand. That's brutal. But that's how Sam really felt. While millions of fans raved about Yellowstone, the high-stakes drama, the sweeping cinematography, Costner's gravel-voiced performance, Sam Elliot rolled his eyes. He didn't see a reflection of the West he knew and loved. He saw a glossy fantasy designed for audiences who'd never dug a fence post or smelled cattle at sunrise. To Sam, it was a postcard version of reality, filtered and romanticized for mass consumption. Insiders say Sam was even offered a cameo role in Yellowstone, a chance to be part of one of TV's biggest hits, and he turned it down flat. He reportedly called it a soap opera with a cowboy hat. That rejection wasn't just about the script or the money. It was a statement, a pointed, deliberate rejection of everything Yellowstone represented. Because to Sam Elliot, Westerns aren't just entertainment. They're a moral code. He values grit over glamour, restraint over drama, the kind of stoic silence that speaks louder than any monologue. Costner, in Sam's view, brought gloss and big-budget appeal with very little soul. Even when the two men ended up in the same room at industry events, the tension was thick. One producer who witnessed an encounter said, "They never yelled at each other, but the chill between them could freeze a desert. No handshakes, no warm greetings, just cold professionalism." For Sam, Kevin Costner represents the Hollywoodization of something sacred, the turning of real Western values into entertainment product. And that's something Sam will never forgive. But if you think that's harsh, wait until you hear what Sam said about the next actor on this list. Actor 2, Benedict Cumberbatch. British actor, Sherlock star, Oscar nominee, one of the most acclaimed actors of his generation. In 2021, he starred in The Power of the Dog, a dark psychological Western directed by Jane Campion. The film was a critical darling. It got nominated for 12 Oscars. Critics called it a masterpiece, a brilliant deconstruction of toxic masculinity and the American West. And Sam Elliott absolutely hated it. But he didn't just dislike the film. He went public with his criticism in a way that shocked everyone. There was no sugarcoating, no carefully phrased diplomacy, no vague complaints wrapped in compliments. His words were sharp, raw, and unapologetically blunt. They hit like a punch you didn't see coming. During a podcast appearance, Sam zeroed in on Benedict Cumberbatch with laser focus. He mocked his accent, his posture, his entire portrayal of a Western rancher. "What the hell does this Brit know about the American West?" Sam said, his tone dripping with frustration and disbelief. He didn't stop there. He called Cumberbatch's performance prissy and accused the film of completely misunderstanding what Westerns are supposed to be about. The reaction was immediate and explosive. Fans of Cumberbatch were furious. Fans of the film were outraged. Social media went absolutely wild. Critics called Sam a relic from a bygone era, too stubborn to evolve. Too old school to appreciate modern takes on the genre he helped define. They accused him of gatekeeping, of refusing to make space for fresh voices and new perspectives. But Sam didn't blink. He didn't issue a clarifying statement. He didn't walk back a past single word. He stood firm, like a gunslinger who'd already drawn his weapon and wasn't backing down. To Sam, the power of the dog didn't just miss the mark. It disrespected the entire tradition it was trying to emulate. He believed it romanticized broken masculinity and fundamentally misunderstood what the Western genre truly stands for. This wasn't just about one performance. Sam was defending a legacy, a genre built on quiet strength, hard-earned wisdom, and a deeply personal code of ethics. The Western, to Sam, wasn't about psychological complexity or artsy cinematography. It was about men and women surviving in a harsh world through discipline, honor, and grit. And he felt like the power of the dog turned all of that into some pretentious art house experiment. Benedict Cumberbatch never responded directly to Sam's comments. He took the high road and stayed silent. But insiders say he was deeply hurt by the criticism. Studio executives reportedly held quiet discussions about whether to issue a public response. Maybe a diplomatic statement defending the film's artistic vision. But Cumberbatch chose silence over spectacle. Sam, on the other hand, stood by every single word, like a man who'd taken his stand and wasn't moving an inch. To him, the West wasn't a costume you put on for an awards season film. It wasn't a cinematic filter or a trendy backdrop. It was a code, a way of life that demanded truth, not trendiness. And he wasn't about to let anyone, no matter how acclaimed or talented, rewrite that code on his watch. If that controversy surprised you, wait until you hear about the next actor on Sam's list. Actor 3. Ashton Kutcher. Ashton Kutcher, model turned actor, star of That 70 Seconds show. Known for prank shows, romantic comedies, and later, tech investments in Silicon Valley. To most people, he's a charming, successful guy who made it big in Hollywood. But to Sam Elliott, Ashton Kutcher represents everything that's wrong with modern acting. See, to Sam Elliott, acting is sacred, not a popularity contest, not a playground for influencers or reality TV stars looking for their next gig, but a craft. Something forged through discipline, patience, and raw emotional truth. Every role, Sam believes, has to come from somewhere real, somewhere deep, somewhere earned through experience and hard work. So when Ashton Kutcher shot to stardom through a sitcom, followed by a string of lightweight romantic comedies and flashy Silicon Valley ventures, Sam wasn't impressed. He was irritated. To Sam, it felt like a slap in the face of everything he valued about acting. Still, when the two were cast together in the Netflix series The Ranch, Sam didn't protest. He showed up, learned his lines, did his job. He's a professional after all. But behind the scenes, the cracks formed almost immediately. Crew members say the tension was obvious, even when no words were exchanged. Sam reportedly vented to staffers in quiet moments, shaking his head in frustration. "He's a decent guy," Sam was overheard saying, "but not a real actor. It wasn't about Ashton's attitude or personality. By all accounts, Kutcher was friendly and easy to work with. It was his approach to acting that rubbed Sam the wrong way. To Sam, Kutcher embodied a new Hollywood. One where social media followers mattered more than training, where algorithms determined who got cast, where charm and likability replaced discipline and depth. To Sam, this wasn't evolution. It was erosion. The sacred art of storytelling was being watered down by shortcuts, superficiality, and slick personal branding. While audiences watching The Ranch saw good chemistry on screen, Sam knew the truth. It was just acting, nothing more. No real connection, no brotherhood. Ashton Kutcher, always polished in interviews, called Sam a legend and praised him as a mentor figure on set. But Sam, behind closed doors, was far less complimentary. "He's acting like a guy who learned acting from YouTube," Sam allegedly told a friend. It wasn't spite, it was standards. Sam wasn't holding a grudge against Ashton personally. He was guarding a code, a dying set of values. One that demanded presence, stillness, and truth. Where actors disappeared into their roles instead of bringing their celebrity persona into every scene. He saw a world where storytelling was becoming spectacle, where tradition was being sold out for clicks and viral moments. And he hated it. The Ranch worked for fans. It was a successful show that ran for multiple seasons. But behind the curtain, there was no real friendship, no bond, just tolerance, professional courtesy, nothing more. For Sam, working with Ashton Kutcher was proof that Hollywood had lost its way. But if Ashton represented the new Hollywood Sam couldn't stand, the next name represented something even worse. Actor 4. Nicolas Cage. Nicolas Cage, one of the most unique actors in Hollywood history. Academy Award winner, star of over 100 films. Known for his wild, unpredictable performances, the bug-eyed intensity, the sudden outbursts, the physical commitment that borders on complete chaos. Some people call him a genius. Others call him insane. But Sam Elliot? He just calls him too much. See, Sam Elliot prizes subtlety in acting. To him, the most powerful performances don't shout, they simmer. A raised eyebrow, a loaded silence, a single word held just long enough to cut deep. The soul of acting, Sam believes, lives not in volume but in restraint. In the quiet, grounded kind of performance that doesn't beg for attention, it earns it. So when Nicolas Cage exploded into mainstream success with his eccentric, high-octane style, Sam didn't see brilliance, he saw chaos. To Sam, Cage wasn't channeling characters. He was putting on a one-man show, a spectacle that hijacked every frame and sucked all the oxygen out of every scene. The two actually appeared together in Ghost Rider, a comic book movie where Cage played the title character and Sam played a mysterious mentor figure. But even working on the same film, Sam kept his distance on set. Polite? Yes. Respectful? Always. Warm? Not even close. In later interviews, Sam never named Nicolas Cage directly, but his criticisms were pointed enough that everyone knew who he was talking about. He spoke about actors who hijack the screen with ego, who turn every scene into their personal stage play. Louder, bigger, flashier, more. Friends close to Sam knew exactly who he meant. He's more firework than flame, Sam reportedly told a confidant. Big bang, no heat. While Cage built a massive cult following based on unpredictability and manic energy, Sam stayed loyal to a slower, steadier craft. He believed in underplaying, in letting the audience lean in, not recoil. To Sam, Nicolas Cage represented a disturbing shift in modern cinema, a hunger for shock over story, a love of chaos for its own sake. He saw it as style overwhelming substance, acting, as entertainment instead of art. And while Cage won awards and delivered performances critics called brilliantly unhinged, Sam wasn't buying it, not for a second. To him, no Oscar could redeem what he saw as hollow theatrics. Because true acting, in Sam's book, wasn't about going viral or creating memes or giving people something to talk about. It was about going inward, about truth, stillness, humanity, the very things he believed Nicolas Cage had abandoned in favor of spectacle. But as harsh as Sam was about Cage's acting style, it was nothing compared to how he felt about the next actor. Because this one was personal. Actor 5, Jeff Bridges. Jeff Bridges. The dude. The cool, laid-back legend of American cinema. 7 Oscar nominations, 1 win for Crazy Heart, decades of incredible performances, and for years, he was Sam Elliott's friend. Not just a colleague, not just someone he worked with once or twice, a real friend, someone Sam trusted, someone he respected on a deep level. Sam and Jeff were cut from the same cloth, gravelly voices, grounded performances, poetic in their silence. They didn't need flashy monologues or dramatic breakdowns to own a scene. Their power came from presence, that rare, magnetic stillness that few actors ever master. Together they starred in The Big Lebowski in 1998, a cult classic that would go on to become a cultural phenomenon. On screen, they were perfect. 2 sides of the same coin, Jeff as the laid-back dude, Sam as the gruff stranger who narrates the story. Off-screen, they shared laughs, long conversations, and what looked like a genuine friendship built on mutual respect and shared values. But somewhere along the line, something fractured. Not in a dramatic explosion, not in a public fight or a scandal, but in a slow, quiet unraveling that neither of them ever acknowledged out loud. After Jeff Bridges won his Oscar for Crazy Heart in 2010, Sam reportedly noticed a shift. The man who once radiated humility and low-key charm started showing up differently. High-end fashion magazines, red carpets with political slogans on his chest, sleek, curated press junkets. He became harder to reach, said a source close to Sam. Less grounded, more curated. To Sam, it felt like the honesty that once defined Jeff had been replaced by Hollywood polish. The simplicity they once swore by their shared belief in letting the work speak for itself seemed to dissolve under the weight of celebrity. In a rare interview years later, when asked about past collaborators, Sam offered a cryptic but unmistakable comment. Some folks change. Others just show who they always were. Many people believed that was a direct shot at Jeff Bridges. And though Jeff never responded publicly true to his calm, diplomatic nature, the silence that followed was deafening. They stopped attending the same festivals, stopped supporting each other's projects, stopped being brothers of the screen. For Sam, the pain wasn't rooted in ego or rivalry. It wasn't about awards or politics. It was about something far more personal. The erosion of a bond he once thought was unbreakable. A bond built not on fame, but on shared values and mutual respect. And when that crumbled, it left behind a quiet ache that Sam rarely spoke about. Insiders say he felt abandoned. Not through betrayal, but through drift. Through the slow, painful realization that the man he once stood beside now stood somewhere else entirely. That hurt more than any public feud ever could. But as painful as losing Jeff Bridges was, there's still one more name on this list. And this one? This one represents everything Sam hates about modern Hollywood. Actor 6, Jared Leto. Jared Leto. Oscar winner, frontman of 30 Seconds to Mars. Known for extreme physical transformations and intense method acting. To Hollywood, he's dedicated, committed, willing to go further than almost any other actor. But to Sam Elliott, Jared Leto is a gimmick. See, Sam Elliott's biggest pet peeve isn't bad acting. It's pretension, not confidence, not commitment. But the kind of over-the-top, look at me, self-seriousness that turns art into a performance for the actor's ego instead of the audience's benefit. So, when Jared Leto became famous for his extreme method acting, sending dead rats to his Suicide Squad castmates, refusing to break character for weeks, turning film sets into psychological obstacle courses, Sam wasn't impressed. He was irritated. Leto's approach to the Joker involved staying in character between takes, demanding that crew members address him as Mr. J, and creating an atmosphere of tension and discomfort on set. To many people, that showed dedication. To Sam, It showed someone who didn't understand what acting actually is. Sam once called Leto's approach theatrics masquerading as talent, and he didn't mean it lightly. Privately, he was even more blunt. "If he needs that much effort to act," Sam reportedly said to a friend, "maybe he's in the wrong profession." To Sam, great acting didn't need press tours explaining the process. It didn't need behind-the-scenes horror stories to prove how hard you worked. It required disappearing into the role quietly, efficiently, with dignity. It wasn't about turning the filmmaking process into a carnival. It was about making the character feel real. Though Sam and Jared Leto never actually worked together, insiders claim there was almost a near miss. Sam was reportedly attached to a film during its early development. He liked the script. He liked the director. Then he heard that Jared Leto had been cast, and Sam walked away. No press release, no phone call, no public explanation, just a quiet but firm exit. That's how deep the line was drawn for Sam. He would rather walk away from a good project than deal with what he saw as method acting gone mad. To Sam, acting isn't meant to be a circus. It's supposed to be honest, still, human, the kind of work that moves people, not shocks them or makes headlines. And Jared Leto's approach represented everything Sam believed was wrong with modern Hollywood. The obsession with spectacle over substance, the elevation of process over product, the idea that suffering for your art somehow makes the art better. Sam didn't buy any of it. For him, the best actors were the ones who showed up, did their job with professionalism and skill, and went home. No drama, no circus, no rats in the mail, just honest work. And Jared Leto's entire career seemed designed to be the exact opposite of that. Actor 7, Shia LaBeouf. But wait, there's one more name, one more actor who crossed Sam Elliott's line in the sand. And this one might be the most revealing of all. Shia LaBeouf, child star turned indie darling. The guy who went from Transformers blockbusters to bizarre performance art pieces where he wore a paper bag over his head. For a few years, Hollywood called him fearless. Studios called him committed. Critics called him unpredictable. But Sam Elliott? He called him something else entirely. To Sam, Shia LaBeouf was the textbook example of what happens when raw talent shows up without any discipline to back it up. Now Sam can handle a lot. He's worked in this business for 60 years. He's seen everything. He can handle ego. He can handle actors who want one more take to get it right. He can even handle directors who talk too much and over-explain every scene. What he absolutely won't tolerate is chaos on set, especially when that chaos comes from someone who hasn't earned the right to act like a legend. According to people who've worked with Sam, there was a small window of time when they were both attached to the same project, a dusty, low-budget, character-driven modern western. The exact kind of film Sam loves: tight schedule, small crew, everyone doing 3 different jobs, no fancy trailers, no prima donnas, just actors, a camera, and a story to tell. Then, Shia LaBeouf showed up, and everything changed. He wasn't late because of traffic. He was late because of his process. He wasn't unprepared. He was over-prepared in the worst possible way. He wanted to improvise scenes that were already locked and approved. He wanted to find the character on the actual shooting day instead of during rehearsals. He wanted the crew to keep cameras rolling during rehearsal just in case the magic happens. Now, to a 25-year-old actor, that probably sounds passionate, dedicated, living in the moment. But to an 80-year-old cowboy who's been doing this longer than you've been alive, it sounds like disrespect. It sounds like someone who thinks the entire production should revolve around them. And it got worse. Crew members said Shia stayed in character between takes. Not just quietly preparing, but actively snapping at production assistants, ignoring blocking instructions, asking the same questions the director had already answered. Not because he was trying to be mean, but because he genuinely thought the whole set should bend around his process. Sam watched this for a day, maybe 2. He didn't say a word, just sat there with that heavy stare he has, the one that feels like judgment without a single sound. But then came the moment that broke Sam's patience. During a camera reset, A young camera assistant politely asked Shia to hit his mark so they could refocus the lens. Totally normal request. Happens 100 times a day on every single film set. Shia brushed him off, didn't even look at him, just muttered something about how the character wouldn't stand there. That was it. Sam stepped in. Not loud, not dramatic. Just final. He told the director, well within earshot of half the crew. We're all making the same movie here. Nobody's bigger than the people holding the camera. That's the thing about Sam Elliot. He doesn't yell. He doesn't throw tantrums. He just reminds you that acting is a job. Reminds you that the crew deserves just as much respect as any star. Reminds you that no amount of method acting gives you permission to treat people like furniture. After that day, Sam kept his professional distance. On camera, he delivered his performance. Off camera, ice cold. No stories between takes, no small talk. No, hey kid, you're doing great. Just the scene, and then silence. Later, talking to a friend about the experience, Sam was even more blunt. Talent without control is just trouble. And when his friend asked if he'd ever work with Shia again, Sam didn't even hesitate. No, life's too short to babysit an actor. That's the same line Sam drew with Jared Leto. The same line he drew with Nicolas Cage. The same line he's drawn with every Hollywood show-off who confused noise with actual art. Because to Sam Elliot, a movie set isn't a stage for your personal psychology experiment. It's a workplace. Real people are there. Tired people. People working 12-hour days. People trying to finish on schedule so they can go home to their families. And when a young actor shows up and makes everything about himself, when he turns a professional environment into his personal therapy session, Sam doesn't forgive that. Not because he's bitter or jealous, but because he knows there's a better way to do this. He's seen it done right for 6 decades. He's worked with legends who had 10 times the talent and showed up with humility and respect every single day. So yeah, add Shia LaBeouf to Sam Elliott's blacklist. Not because Shia isn't talented, Sam never denies when someone has ability, but because Shia brought chaos where discipline was needed. Because he made the process louder than the actual picture. Because he forgot the oldest rule Sam lives by. Real cowboys don't make more work for other people. They show up, they do their job, they respect everyone around them. And if you can't do that, you don't deserve to call yourself a professional. So there you have it. 6 actors, 6 names that reveal the quiet fury Sam Elliot has been carrying for decades. Kevin Costner, the Hollywood cowboy playing dress-up in the real West. Benedict Cumberbatch, the British actor who Sam believes had no business touching a Western. Ashton Kutcher, the sitcom star who represents everything wrong with modern acting. Nicolas Cage, the chaos agent who values spectacle over substance. Jeff Bridges, the friend whose success destroyed a brotherhood. And Jared Leto, the method actor whose approach Sam sees as pure pretension. What makes Sam Elliott's story so powerful is that he's not some hothead looking for attention. He's not chasing headlines or trying to stay relevant. At 80 years old, Sam Elliot has nothing left to prove. His legacy is secure. His place in film history is guaranteed. But he still speaks out, still draws his lines, still refuses to compromise. Because for Sam, acting isn't about fame or money or awards. It's about honesty, tradition, restraint. It's about bringing truth to the screen, not spectacle. And if that means standing alone in a Hollywood that no longer values what he values, he's fine with that. Because in a town full of noise and pretension and actors desperate for attention, Sam Elliot remains something rare. The last real cowboy. A man whose word means something, whose standards never waver. Who values the craft over the celebrity? And maybe that's why his opinion matters so much. Because when Sam Elliot criticizes someone, it's not out of jealousy or pettiness. It's out of a genuine belief that something sacred is being lost, that the art form he dedicated his life to is being corrupted by ego, pretension, and Hollywood phoniness. Whether you agree with him or not, you have to respect the fact that he's willing to say what he believes, even when it's unpopular, even when it costs him friendships and opportunities. Because Sam Elliot would rather be honest than liked. And in Hollywood, that's about as rare as it gets. Thanks for watching. And remember, in a world full of actors, be a cowboy.